Dame Dash was recently on his American New platform, and he was talking about Steve Stoute. And what he was saying is a perspective between him and Steve Stoute's relationship. Listen to him as he breaks it down. Check it out.
The problem with, I think, my relationship with Steve Stoute was sort of the way I was introduced to him. Mm-hmm. I've never had a certain level of respect for him. And the reason why is, back when we started to kick it with Biggie Smalls, and you could ask D-Rock and C's and all of them, but they used to be, I guess Steve Stoute used to be around a lot. You know, I don't know why, maybe because it was with Sony or whatever, and Steve Stoute was up under Tommy Mottola. And that was always Steve Stoute's model, is to get with a powerful white man and pause, just become his nutsack.
So Steve Stoute figured out a way to hack the industry while being up under a powerful white man that's in the industry. Let's keep it going.
Like, he would be the guy that'll say, look, I can get you the culture for free. So he had Tommy Mottola in his pocket at Sony, and he had Jimmy Iovine in his pocket at Interscope. Literally, Rockefeller was going to be at Interscope. I went and met with Ted, Jimmy Iovine. We were going to do the deal, and this was literally that deal up, Steve Stoute. And that happened. And same thing as Sony, I was dealing with Ron Sweeney, and then Tommy Mottola goes over there, messes that deal up. But anyway, the way I met him was they were always talking about him, and I'd be like, they'd be disrespect him, and they were like, yo, this dude Steve Stoute, he's always in the office, he's blah, blah, blah. And they had a picture of him with a wig on with lipstick.
You're lying, man.
So apparently he had fell asleep in the studio, and they put a wig on him and lipstick, and I'm like, well, did he wake up swinging on y'all? And they're like, hell no, we just laughed at him.
So Junior Mafia violated and put a prank on him.
So that's was where I my first interaction with him. And then I met him, and you know, it was whatever. And we, at that time, we were all like young executives. I remember I'm in my 20s, early 20s. And I was telling him about what I was about to do with DJ Clue. I was going to sign DJ Clue and make a compilation album and put out I was like the first guy to put out a mixtape as a real album. Mm-hmm. And I got wind that he went behind my back and offered Clue a deal, and Clue was about to sign the deal. So I literally, with, you know, a lot of Rockefellers and a couple of people from the block, went up in that office while they were sitting around the table about to sign. I had to sit down and say, now, what type of time, you know, you bugging. Like, bro, you're not gonna just do that. Like, you know, come in, take my ideas, know I'm gonna do a deal, and go around my back and do a deal.
So what Dame Dash is talking about, from his perspective, is like, he would tell him ideas, and then basically Steve Stoute would go back and try to do the idea that Dame Dash was talking about. I know Choke No Joke has said this before about between them two.
You sit there and go do a show with Shannon Sharp, copying my fucking style. My style of interviewing. Me following Dame around and interviewing him around the world. You go and do an interview with Shannon Sharp the same way you see Dame doing interviews and traveling with cameras, and you talk about, oh, he was following, he had cameras going all around him with a bunch of women. Now all y'all niggas got cameras.
So literally I had to take those pens and put the Rockefeller deal right there. And part of the conversation is like, yo, like, you know, you were a dude that my first interaction was, and they're putting wigs on you and put lipstick on you, and you don't do shit. So he's obviously not a street guy, but he's playing with street people. You know what I mean? So.
And as the interview goes on, Dame Dash starts to reveal more how he feel about Steve Stoute.
Because Steve is a trifling guy. So he, like, even in my conversations with him, and I'm not lying to you, I'm not hating or nothing, but like, he would tell me like, yo, I hate this. I hate this. He would tell me that. That was his motto. And I just think maybe because he got abused by black people a lot, he didn't mind selling them out. So what he's made a business of is getting cool with white people, and then getting people like Jay-Z to put their name on a Budweiser can. And that's what I was against. I'm like, how you going to be about champagne? Why would you have that man do a deal with Budweiser?
That's below.
It's just, again, it's like, and also a brand that's known to be for racist people.
Yeah.
So, or why would you put Jay-Z's full name on a $40 sneaker? So like, no disrespect to Jay, but this was the last time I saw Steve. I had this conversation with him. I'm like, why would you put Jay's name on a $40 sneaker? Jay hasn't been able to sell anything with his name on it since then.
But Steve Stoute may see it as a success because at the time, that was the fastest selling shoe for Reebok. At the time, the S. Carter was the fastest selling shoe at that time. Even outsold the Iverson at that time. So it might be a win for Steve Stoute. He may see that as a win.
You got to remember, there was a time that whatever Jay wore, everybody wore. He was the fly guy. After them stupid ass collar shirts Yankee hats, he been not known as the fly guy. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect, but we lost a lot of money at Rockwear with that, because at Rockwear they made me order a bunch of them to sell a year later. And I'm like, yo, they're gonna be played out. So I ended up with like $40 million worth of dress shirts and cufflinks with cuffling holes that we couldn't sell. That's why I was like, I'm selling my interest. But the thing about it is, what I don't like about it is, he's been that person, Steve Stoute, that when things were in the newspaper about me and Jay, and I'd go to like a LA Read and say, yo, what's that all about? I'd be like, Steve put that in the paper. When I go to Leor Cohen and be like, yo, what's that all about? Steve put that in the paper. It was always Steve. And then even to this year, gets on Vlad and says, Steve came to me and said that we have a conspiracy. We're going to sit down and we're going to put Damon out of business.
He was caught up in a power struggle. You know, it was all about the power to get rid of Dame Dash, and take Jay-Z to the next level without Dame, and it was, Dame should stop blaming Leor and Todd Moskowitz and start blaming Steve Stoute.
He said it. So there was actually conversations and conspiring to put me out of business, to make a narrative, to make my name seem like it's something. I was always fighting for the artist. So if I was yelling at somebody, it was for the artist. So when I'm yelling at somebody, I'm not yelling at somebody for me. I'm yelling at somebody for Jay. I'm yelling at somebody for Kanye. I'm yelling at somebody for Beanie Siegel. I'm yelling at somebody for Cameron. I was doing the yelling so they didn't have to. That was my job. That's what you do as a boss.
Now that Dame Dash has his own platform, he's able to do a response to anybody or anything that has anything to do with him, because now he's able to go on his platform and voice his opinion. I don't think this will be the last time. Like, share, subscribe. We out.